I did a video a few years back about the Kardashians. It did fairly well. I talked about Kris Jenner's obsession with becoming famous, causing her to capitalize on her daughters and family good looks. However, I'm starting to think Kris Jenner was inspired and had a role model to look up to. Was Mama Knowles Kris Jenner's mentor? 'Cause it's giving one and the same. The only difference is Mama Knowles only had 2 daughters, and one of them went AWOL and refused to be used for clout and fame. It now makes sense why Mama Knowles would always treat Solange as the stepdaughter. Maybe because she refused to fall in line like Beyoncé and become a puppet. Mama said, "You're a pretty girl. What's in your head? It doesn't matter. Brush your hair. Fix your teeth. What you wear is all that matters." People for years complained about Matthew Knowles, but I'm starting to think Mama Knowles is more sinister. Here are a few things that have raised my eyebrows concerning Beyoncé and her mother's toxic codependency. Hear me out. A close relationship between a mother and daughter is beautiful. It's what every daughter dreams of. However, there are times when it crosses the line and becomes mommy dearest. Mama Knowles has crossed the line into narcissism and manipulation by not only living vicariously through her daughter's fame, but pimped out her daughter to hold on to that fame or abuse her role as a mother to a famous and rich child. Example 1. Destiny Child. Beyoncé was made to look fairer than the other girls in the group so she can stand out and appeal more to white audiences. I'm pretty sure that was all Mama Knowles' idea, who was not new to pageantry, and knew that their multicultural identity will not only appeal to the black audience, but also white. Example 2. Mama Knowles insisted on making Destiny Child clothes so that she can make money from the group, which wasn't altogether a bad business idea. But some of the clothes were ill-fitted and tacky. It was as if she couldn't recognize when enough was enough, and maybe she didn't have to have her hands in everything. Example 3. House of Darren. Mama Knowles had a habit of forces her children, especially Beyoncé, to partner, be ambassador or the face of her clothing line, as if she was confident enough to sell the brand on her own. Again, the clothes did not appeal to most of the masses because she was trying to do a couture, tailored line that fell flat. She also forced Beyoncé to wear the clothes, which were sometimes ill-fitted and underwhelming. Example 4. She encouraged Beyoncé to marry a man who was much older, an abuser and serial cheater, and made it seem as if a toxic marriage was the norm. She also stayed with a toxic husband until he was the one to leave. If Matthew Knowles had chosen to stay in the marriage and continue to have side babies, Tina Knowles would have been okay with that. Because for her, fame and money is always the bottom line. Even when she married a new husband, because the relationship wasn't as glamorous as her last, she did not think the man was good enough for her. I don't think any man will top Matthew Knowles in Tina's eyes. Unfortunately, she thinks Jay-Z comes close, and that is why, despite the abuse and cheating, she encouraged her daughter to stick by her man. Example 5. It's not bad enough that Mama Knowles encouraged her daughter to marry a cheater and abuser. She insisted on making an ill-fitted wedding dress for the big day. Her selfishness and need for attention caused her to refuse to let her daughter's big day not be about her. That dress was one of the most ugly wedding dress I've ever seen, which makes me think it was deliberate. Is Tina jealous of her daughter? Did she want to steal her spotlight but having her wear that hideous, ill-fitting dress? To humble Beyoncé? Why can't Beyoncé learn how to say no to her mother like Solange? What does her mother have over her? She had to get married again years later in the dress that she wanted, after having all 3 of her children. Imagine not even being able to dress yourself without your mother's permission at 30-something. It's like between her mom and husband, she's not allowed to make her own decisions or have a mind of her own. I can definitely see Mama Knowles putting Beyoncé in a conservatorship if she ever tells her no. Mama Knowles is a class book narcissist. She has to become front and center when it comes to her children. She's became famous by association and uses that to her advantage, any chance she gets. Whenever Beyoncé gets a business opportunity, Mama Knowles forces her to include her in the business dealings. Example 6. Ivy Park. The brand started of shaky. When it started doing well, Mama Knowles forced her way in with her tacky designs, causing the business to fail. At this point, I think she's purposely sabotaging Beyoncé's success. Beyoncé should know by now that her mother is not a good businesswoman, and her creative ideas are delusional and not relatable. She always forces Beyoncé to target her white demographic, eliminating the black community, except when doing a cash grab like the next business I will talk about. Beyoncé, who in the decades she's been famous has been known for her ratty blonde wigs. No one who is not a friend or relative has ever seen her natural hair, decided to come out with a hair care line. Say what? A hair care what? Of course, this is really another mommy dearest scheme to get rich or die trying. Again, like House of Darren, Beyoncé is the face of a business venture that she couldn't care less about, but is really her mother's brainchild. If Beyoncé was a person who wasn't selfish and including her hair care and her lifestyle content for fans, that hair care line would have made Mama Dearest $1 billion. However, Beyoncé always comes across sneaky and untrustworthy in her business dealings except when to capitalize on her fans. That is why Ivy Park did not do well, and that is why this hair care line will not do well. Besides music, Beyoncé has had a very hard time creating a successful business, because her mother has her hands in all the pots, and Beyoncé doesn't seem passionate about anything besides music. I can't think of a business that Beyoncé can succeed in besides music because she failed in everything she's done. That might come off as harsh being that she's a billionaire. Let's take a look at Rihanna, who is also a music artist. Rihanna has 2 successful business worth billions and none have to do with music. She has Fenty Beauty and Fenty Savage. Rihanna never has to do music again. If Beyoncé stops doing music, what will she have? Not that she will ever need to make money for the rest of her life. Humor me? What business is Beyoncé known for besides being an artist? She is too selfish and insecure to manage other people. She always ends up competing, overshadowing or neglecting them. Her acting is not the best. She can't fall back on an acting career. If in her 50s, she gets tired of music. Beyoncé has spent her whole life trying to please her mother, that she did not take the time to discover her own identity and carve out what she wants and likes. I am sure not without trying, but having an overbearing mother and domineering husband can wear one down. She did not stand a chance between her mother and husband. Her mother found Beyoncé a man who can keep her weak against her mother's attacks. What is Beyoncé hiding? Why are there NDAs when people come into contact with her? Does her mother not care about her own daughter's safety? Or is she also a part of it? Everyone invited to her and her husband events or presents must sign NDAs. What is that about? What are they hiding? Beyoncé marketed herself as a good Christian girl until her mother forced her to marry a man who clearly was unequally yoked and not a Christian. Does Beyoncé still consider herself a Christian? What kind of mother pimps her daughter to the highest bidder? Did she not do due diligence to look into Jay-Z's history as a drug dealer, possible gang member, womanizer, and abuser of women? Maybe the mother didn't care because the end justifies her means. Now we hear about this Diddy allegations and wonder what role the Knowles and Carters play. Did Solange go into hiding to escape Diddy? Notice when Diddy became more aggressive in his partnership with Jay-Z and Beyoncé, Solange quietly made an exit. Why isn't Beyoncé as smart or wise as her younger sister? Even Solange's son, who was forced into the care of Beyoncé and Tina Knowles' care, did not escape unscathed. He not only was involved in revenge porn, getting a girl pregnant, but also leaking a sex tape. What is really going on in the Carter-Knowles household? There's a rumor of divorce, like mother, like daughter. Beyoncé's mother was unable to stay in not 1 but 2 marriages, no matter how long she held on to the first toxic relationship. Her second relationship, which might have been better, she took the man for granted because as Beyoncé's mother, she was very demanding. Which begs the question, is Mama Knowles the toxic one in both her relationships? One is led to believe that she might have been demanding in her first relationship as well. Nothing seems to be enough for Mama Knowles. She forced Beyoncé to create a fashion company for her. It did not succeed. She then forced herself into being a part of the Ivy Park design team, causing that company to also fail. Now she is forcing her to create a hair brand. I am not saying that the hair brand may not succeed, but Beyoncé is not known for hair care. There are fans that will buy everything that Beyoncé hawks. For the rest of us who do not know who Beyoncé is, everything she's been showing us is her mother. From Darren, Ivy Park, and now this hair brand. It's all her mother's concept. Then the question becomes, who is Beyoncé Knowles Carter? Because we know who Tina Knowles is, and we are really not interested.